Rumor has it, according to Rick Glazier, I'm doing some checking, but I've heard this anyway to begin with, that Showtime was thinking about getting out of the boxing business, after this year or early 2024. So, Rick Glazier reported this. So, it was funny. He said, don't start to insult. He just hold on. Because a lot of people think that Rick Glazier is completely has it in for Al Heyman and the PBC. And people went as far as to say Rick Glazier is a racist and all this kind of stuff. I don't know what Rick Glazier is. At the end of the day, he's entitled to his opinion. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't get mad anytime somebody voice their opinion and it may not be favorable towards the black person, because at the end of the day, you just can't sit up there and say just because somebody don't like something, what I'm saying, or disagree with you and they happen not to be black, they're racist. And I'm not defending Rick Glazier in no way, shape, or form. I'm just saying I don't know the guy. But I'm just giving my own interpretation. But at the end of the day, for y'all that's gonna come on here with the super pro-black power to the people, don't sit up here and talk about, Al Heyman and all this kind of stuff. You guys go to hell. At the end of the day, why is this happening? It could be a mixture of a lot of things. It could be that basically, Showtime just want to go another direction. It could be because they've had all they could stand with, Al Heyman and the PBC not giving them marquee fights. It could just be a mixture of everything. It could be just a whole bunch of different things. I don't know the specifics, but I have reason to believe that it has a lot to do with them just not being able to produce high marquee, high value fights. Now, I heard that they may continue to work with the PB. At the end of the day, a lot of people just got tired of Al Heyman's antics, and they just basically told them to scram, to take a hike, because Al Heyman refused to make marquee fights with other promotional companies. I think he thought what he could do is sign all these fighters and just have them fight each other, and then that would keep the PBC brand afloat. But then after a while, people started to figure it out, like, hey man, what about dude with Top Rank? What about dude with Golden Boy? What about dude with Matchroom? We want to start seeing those type of fights. We want to see how these guys fare against, what I'm saying, your guys. I think to me, what was the end, what kind of like was the beginning of the end with the PBC is when basically, well, one first step is when they bounced a potential fight with Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. Now, Al Heyman got mad at Lou DiBella because he basically tried to take Deontay Wilder to the zone in order to make the Anthony Joshua fight. But then again, I believe Anthony Joshua just don't want to fight Deontay Wilder. I just think he just don't believe he can beat Deontay Wilder, and I just think he don't want to fight him. Then look how long it took us to get Spence versus Crawford. Then, failed attempts to try to get Terrence Crawford to fight on the PBC banner. And then how they treated Terrence Crawford. And of course, his fanboys and fangirls are still crying about the wait for the Errol Spence rematch. This is why they don't believe in Spence like they pretend to. If they really believed in their heart of hearts that Errol Spence could beat Terrence Crawford, if Errol Spence got Terrence Crawford's number, he just got Terrence Crawford's number. But you've seen people making countless videos crying about how Terrence Crawford is trying to finesse and trick and stab Errol Spence in the back, when it was in the contract that Terrence Crawford got to pick what weight class they fought at. But then people hollering about honor a contract. Like I said, this is why I'm gonna continue to call them out on democracy. But I just think that Showtime just had all they could take with Al Heyman. Got rid of the PBC. And I thought and was thinking to myself, Al Heyman just thought he could continue to get away with this. So now, after, you know what I'm saying, the first of next year, he may not have, a network deal. He may have to head to the Zone. He may have to try to head back to ESPN. Maybe he can see, could he work something out with Stars? Maybe Stars willing to get into the boxing bit. Maybe, can't say BET, because BET is under the Paramount Global brand. So none of this surprises me. A lot of this, most of us saw coming. I saw this coming. And I knew that this was going to wear thin with Showtime, with the big bosses at Showtime. They probably was telling Steven Espinosa, hey man, you got to get us some marquee fights. Even if we like the secondary promoter, get us some fights. And the PBC don't really like doing purse bids. So it was just a mixture of everything. When it first, the PBC looked like it was something that was foolproof. It looked like it was something that was going to work. But as time grown by and went by, when we basically saw a lot of stagnant and poor efforts to make other fights with other promotional companies. And then you had Al Heyman talking his fighters out of other fights with other promotional companies that was gonna pay them good money. Like I said, when Al Heyman basically interfered with Danny Garcia versus Terrence Crawford, that just said a lot. That he wasn't really willing to make outside fights. And I don't know why people are so upset and they think that I'm just attacking Al Heyman just to be attacking Al Heyman and trying to portray me as some kind of coon and all that stuff. I'm far from a coon. The reason why my channel hasn't advanced the way it could advance, because I preferred not to coon and compromise my channel. And I said things that a lot of people didn't want to hear, which was the truth, and I'm gonna continue to be that way. It's unfortunate what's going on with the PBC, if this is true, but at the end of the day, Al Heyman and Steven Espinosa have nobody to blame for this but themselves. This is a simple case where they basically outsmarted themselves. And then when people started to really do their research and say, damn man, if you do your research and you look at the numbers, the PBC fighters don't fare well when they fight outside of the PBC brand. So people started to see that. So then people really started to get hip to Al Heyman and what he was doing. Jim Lampley, he did an interview discussing this same thing. Too many mismatches. And then when the actual fight came around that we wanted to see, which to me, you can make an argument, it was like maybe 2 years too late, which is Spence versus Crawford. And then I don't know why people were so shocked by the results. And then you had a lot of these dudes on here, these idiots on here, saying that Terrence Crawford hadn't fought nobody and all this kind of stuff, and tried to critique Terrence Crawford's career versus Errol Spence, and then making it look like Errol Spence was fighting world beaters when in actuality he really wasn't. He was fighting a whole bunch of in-house fighters. And then when he actually fights Terrence Crawford, a former top-ranked fighter, he get the hell beat out of him. He get dominated. He get destroyed. And then I think the PBC also, I think based off what happened with the whole Frank Martin the whole Frank Martin and Shakur Stevenson thing, I think that possibly was another nail in the coffin. At the end of the Shakur Stevenson fight, at the end of the day, Frank Martin fight November 16th, but Shakur Stevenson do. Now, if he fight on Spence Crawford too, then okay then. But at the same time, if it's against a lesser opponent, it's still a duck. Because we all know that Shakur Stevenson is a pound-for-pound top 10 fighter. And he missed out on $1 million payday and an opportunity to prove himself. If they weren't ready for Shakur Stevenson, they should have just said it in the first place. They shouldn't have even accepted the fight and then come back to say they no longer interested in the fight after Frank Martin was talking all this cachet stuff about, hey man, when opportunity strikes and comes your way, you got to seize the moment, you got to seize the opportunity. And then when opportunity knocked on his door, he kicked it out the door. And then tried to come with some ridiculous excuse about, well, he wanted half and the money wasn't right and all this kind of stuff. And then you had these PBC nut huggers, of course, trying to put this on Shakur Stevenson and trying to compare the Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney thing to Frank Martin and Shakur Stevenson, when Frank Martin is fighting in ballrooms and conference rooms that hold at capacity 2,000 people, and from what I heard was only selling half of that. Shakur Stevenson is an arena fighter. Devin Haney is an arena fighter. And then you had a bunch of these dudes sit up here and tell a bold-faced lie. You had a bunch of dudes sit up and tell a bold-faced lie. Damn, I dropped my phone. But yeah, then you had dudes tell a bold-faced lie saying that Shakur Stevenson walked away from an $8 million payday, which was a fucking lie. It was a fucking lie. And anybody that put that out there, they a liar. Knew damn well it wasn't no $8 million. Shakur would have jumped on it. So now the chickens have came home to roost with the PBC. So now they're gonna be sitting up here trying to find a home now. And see, the thing is, Al Heyman felt that he didn't have to make certain fights because, okay, well, if Showtime wasn't interested, he had Fox. If Fox wasn't interested, he had Showtime. So he could bounce from Showtime to Fox. Then when Fox basically told him to kick rocks, then it was left with Showtime. But then it was hesitation with Showtime, and Showtime just got to the point, hey man, why won't you make this fight? Why won't you make that fight? So now this is why Al Heyman finds himself in the predicament that he's in. This is why he's in the pickle that he's in. And gonna be trying to figure out, okay, now it's gonna be like, now what? Yeah, that could happen, Mark. But like I said, Al Heyman squandered a golden opportunity. Wasn't nothing wrong with making outside fights. You could have signed, co-promotional, you could have did co-promotional, co-network deals where all this stuff could have been worked out, could have been fixed, but you refused to do it. And then you had a lot of these dummies sitting up here talking all this, oh man, PBC is where it's at. Oh, are you sure? Are you sure? Because after this year, PBC ain't gonna be where it's at. So we all know that these dudes are gonna say next to nothing about what's going on with the PBC, because it's gonna prove that they didn't know what the fuck they was talking about. You know these dudes ain't gonna sit up here and put out videos talking about what's going on with the PBC, because it proves that they didn't know what they was talking about and that they were wrong. So for all these people that was doing all this PBC network banging, how do you feel now knowing that after January the 1st, the PBC may not even have a network deal because it got screwed up because of Al Heyman's and Steven Espinosa's ego? And I'm gonna tell you right now, that Canelo fight don't do good, which I don't think it will. that's gonna further get them even closer out the door. I can tell you right now, if Canelo versus Jermell Charlo flops, in which I think it is, they're gonna demand that Canelo fight. They're gonna tell Canelo, hey man, you either gotta fight David Benavidez or some man, or you may have to fight Terrence Crawford at a catch weight. Somebody gonna get involved. I'm telling you that right now. Cause it's like this, when you give somebody money, especially when you invest and you broker a deal, you want a return. You want a return. And I can tell you right, oh, hey, Vegas Mark, I know for a fact, and I checked with like 3 different people, Canelo versus Charlo is selling poorly. I mean, you could go, if you guys think I'm lying, you could go online right now. I'm talking about seats are available throughout that arena in every section. There is not one section that's sold out. That fight is selling very poorly. Probably what's going to happen is the PBC is going to have to buy the remaining tickets, and they're going to have to comp hella people. Or they just going to give away tickets. Yeah, I know Las Vegas dirty little secrets. I know. Don't talk about Al Haymon. Don't talk about the black man. Don't talk about Al Haymon. Don't give a damn about black people. Yeah, there's plenty of tickets available. They still selling the highest ticket for around $300. They better drop that by half by Monday. They better drop that by half. You know, a lot of times what people do is, here's a little trick I'm gonna tell you guys what they do, you know, when they have big pay-per-view fights. You know, they like to show camera angles that make it look like the arena is full. So a lot of times what they'll do, if they have certain sections of the fight that isn't sold, they will upgrade you. And what I mean by an upgrade is they will give you better seats for free. When I went to Pacquiao versus Ugas, I had to go upstairs. Well, I was supposed to go upstairs, but I went there with my sister and they upgraded us. They put us on the lower level. They put us on the lower level. Remember, I covered that fight without no credentials, but they put us on the lower level. So what may happen is, like, the people that got the nosebleed seats or you know, the cheaper seats, they gonna probably upgrade them, and then whatever tickets they don't sell, they're gonna give away, and then they may drop the ticket prices at the gate to like maybe $100. And then they're gonna try to make it look like the arena is full when it really isn't. Oh, I know all these little tricks. I know all these tricks. See, when you cover box and when you go to fights, this is some of the stuff they do. My ticket was for upstairs for Manny Pacquiao versus Ugas. Soon as I get ready to go get on the escalator, lady walks up and she say, hey, would you like to be upgraded for absolutely free? I was like, hell yeah. So the lady gave us some tickets. She gave me, my sister, and my homeboy some upgraded tickets. And I'm talking about where I got seated. I was like right smack dab, like where you can see the middle, like smack dab where the middle of the ring is. Not no corner seats, I'm talking about the middle. So yeah, they gonna make it look like hella people came to that fight. But in reality, there's not gonna be that many people coming to that fight. Keep in mind, you need to understand something. and somebody else reported this as well, that the Charlo brothers, neither one of them is favorable, with networks, because nobody likes them. Nobody likes them. They don't have any drawing power. So, that's another reason why this fight isn't doing very well. Why it's not gonna succeed. Because of the main event. Nobody likes the Charlo brothers. They're just unmarketable because of their attitudes. And because of the way they conduct themselves. They just on the wrong side of history. Like I said before, the whole thing with threatening other fighters and talking about they gonna shoot people and all this kind of stuff, and just a lot of people saw that. But that's some of the little tricks they do. Keep in mind, Jamel Charlo couldn't even get 3,000 people to pay to see him fight at the Home Depot Center. So what does that tell y'all? The Home Depot Center in Carson, California holds to capacity around 8,000 people. He didn't even sell 3,000 tickets for his undisputed match versus Brian Castanos. Man couldn't even get 3,000. They told people that happened to be coming from a soccer game at the soccer stadium, because when you go to the Home Depot Center, it's a soccer stadium there. So that's where the Chargers were playing at until they finished SoFi Stadium. So they played there temporarily. So people happen to be coming from some soccer game, and I talked to several people that was there. They told them to just go sit wherever they wanted to sit. And they still couldn't get people. They still couldn't fill up that arena. And they gave away. That just goes to show you the drawing power and how much people dislike the Charlo brothers. They couldn't even fill up a tennis stadium. They couldn't even get 2,000 people in that arena to watch a free fight. All I can say is if Jamel Charlo win that fight, man. And I hate to say this too, because he is a brother, but then at the same time, I just don't really care for that dude because of just how he treats people, especially people from his own community. But if Jamel wins that fight, the PBC got a big problem on their hands. He gonna be the undisputed super middleweight champion, but nobody is gonna want to pay to come see him fight. Who do I think will go win? Well, all I'm gonna say is Jamel better just go for broke, because as soon as the bell rings, he's already gonna be down 4 rounds. The only way he wins that fight on the scorecards, unless I'm talking about if he get like 3 knockdowns of Canelo, and I'm just talking about he just beat the crap out of him. He gonna have to knock Canelo down like about 3 or 4 times, because when the bell rings, he's gonna be down 4 rounds. You don't get no decision against Canelo. I'm talking about it's just next to impossible to get a decision against Canelo. The thing is with Bibble, the reason why Bibble, and then here's the thing. They gave Canelo the first 4 rounds. All three of the judges, if I'm not mistaken, versus Bibble gave Canelo the first 4 rounds. They all had Bibble, I think, winning I think 1 115, 112 or something like that, where they all gave him like 7 rounds to 5. And if you want to be truthful, Canelo didn't win remotely 5 rounds in that fight. At best, Canelo, like I said, at best, Canelo may have won 3 rounds. You would be generous to give Canelo 4. You would be very generous. You would be a philanthropist if you gave Canelo like 4 rounds. And that's just the honest to God truth. You would be very generous. Something like that. 150. Yeah, so they had Dimitri Bivol winning 7 out. Dimitri Bivol probably won, best case scenario, won 10 rounds. Worst case scenario, won 9 rounds. And they still found. So I'm trying to figure out what's up, Trey. How in the hell could anybody find a way to give Canelo 5 rounds in that fight? Please explain that to me. So please, please explain that to me. When somebody explain that to me, then maybe I'll be a lot smarter today than I was yesterday, because I'm trying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Damian. Where did them judges come up with that score? What 5 rounds Canelo won in that fight versus Bivol? Canelo damn near got stopped in that fight. And if Bivol had been more aggressive, he would have stopped Canelo. Hey, Trick, hit me on the horn, bro, in about 10 minutes, bro. Shout out to my guy, Trick Nolte. That's my guy. Out of that Houston, Texas. You know what I'm saying? Hey, my boy Trick, he can verify what I'm saying. Nobody don't mess with the Charlos, bro. Nobody don't mess with the Charlos in Houston. Nobody likes them dudes. Nobody likes them. Nobody likes them dudes in their hometown, even though they was born in Lafayette. Nobody likes them dudes. Houston don't mess with them dudes. Nobody likes them. They don't have no draw power. They can't sell no tickets. That's why they kept moving the fight. That's why they moved the fight from Houston to the Staples Center. That's now the Crypto Arena. And then when they saw the trajectory that it wasn't gonna sell no tickets at the Crypto Arena, they moved it to Carson. Which, by the way, Carson is hella far from LA. Carson is over there between Compton and Paramount. Carson is like, because the airport is like 25. LAX is like 30 minutes from downtown Los Angeles. Then you got to drive an additional like 20-25 minutes to get to Carson. Is like almost an hour away from like LA. Well, there you go. Well, if in a way fights in the States, people gonna be curious. But he gonna have to, at the end of the day, he'll get away fighting a couple of tomato cans, but eventually they're gonna want him to fight more marquee fights. I think the knock on Inoue is, he refuses really to fight outside of Japan. And this is why a lot of people are suspicious of him. Well, that's what I'm saying, Keisha. Nobody likes those dudes. It's just like, and the thing is, I'm a real, listen, man. I was born and raised in Oakland, California. I already know the difference between a real street dude, a semi-street dude, and a dude that be perpetrating. Male be perpetrating. All that huffing and puffing he be doing, like, I keep trying to tell you, that ain't gonna work everywhere. Because eventually you're going to run into somebody that's going to call your bluff. all that, you know what I'm saying? I'll smack it, like, come on, man. Because I had to make it clear, like I said, when he said that shit about Blue Blood, when he said he had slapped Blue Blood, I instantly did a live letting any of these fighters know, don't ever say you gonna put your hands on me. That's all I got to say. Don't do that, because you don't know where we come from and you don't know who we know. I mean, Jamel let Caleb Plant slap the shit out of his brother. And he said, oh, that's between them. Oh, that's between them. But Jamel didn't have no problem talking about he got his hitters that'll come see Deontay Wilder. He didn't have no problem threatening Deontay Wilder's life. He didn't have no problem threatening Blue Blood's safety. He don't have no problem threatening brothers, though. But all of a sudden, he want to say, oh, that ain't between me. He was all nice and stuff to Canelo. Derek James was nice and humble and respectful to Canelo, but then, you know, when it came to Bomac, he was talking about Bomac is out of shape and he eat too much and all this kind of stuff. So, I mean, you know, niggas do that kind of stuff. I'm telling you, it'll be a PR nightmare. I'm going to talk about that later on, and I know some people going to be mad, but I need for somebody to explain to me where am I lying at. Even Goodfellas Sports said that. Showtime is not very fond of the Charlos. Because they're hard to market. They're unsellable. They look at what they look at ticket sales. They look at the trajectory. That paper, when people were sitting up saying, don't y'all remember a few years ago when they had that pay-per-view, you know, when they had that crowdless pay-per-view, that pay-per-view did terrible numbers. And you had people sitting up line talking about, oh, that fight did like 300. No, it did not. That fight didn't even, from what I heard, the real numbers, I heard that pay-per-view they had didn't even do 75,000. I heard that pay-per-view did like around 70,000 pay-per-views. So when people were sitting there putting them fraudulent numbers out, man, I was like, man, stop it. Stop it, man. Stop it. Trust me, I've been doing this for a minute. I know how it works. I know how all this stuff works. You know, at first I didn't know how you know, they put fights together, trajectories and all this kind of stuff. That's why I was trying to educate you guys when the whole thing, when Carissa Shields was saying that she could get, I think where she said her and Layla Ali could get close to, like, I don't know, $10 million a piece to fight, like how? And then when you heard that Shakur Stevenson turned down $8 million to fight Devin Haney, which was cap. You have to have somebody put up the money for purses like that. You either have an investor or the promotional company got to do it, and they want to see a return. They want to see a return if they're gonna pay you that kind of money. Like I said before, had Devin versus Lomachenko sold like 2.2 million pay-per-views, yeah, then that type of money would be out there because they know they can make that kind of money back. A lot goes into putting together these pay-per-view matchups. And while these dudes be sitting up here lying about fraudulent numbers, you know, dudes like, the least attorney and a few other people out here, I'm the guy that's really out there doing the groundwork, or as people were saying, prefer the Errol Spence doing the heavy lifting. When I'm trying to figure out what heavy lifting Errol Spence was doing, the only thing that happened to Errol Spence, like July the 29th, he kept getting lifted off his feet. Terrence Carver was an astronaut that night. Errol Spence kept getting lifted off his feet. So that was, yeah, but yeah, I'm just giving y'all the real. Y'all wonder why the Charlo brothers Don't fight in Houston because they ain't gonna sell. Because ain't nobody gonna come see their asses. Say what you want to say about Andre Ward. When Andre Ward was fighting in Oakland, Andre Ward was getting at least 11, 10, 13,000 people at the Oracle Arena. Shakur Stevenson, whenever he fight in Newark, he get over 10,000 people. The next time Shakur fight in Newark, they gonna probably make more seats available. They probably gonna make like 14,000 seats available. So I'm just saying, Charlo Brothers selling 3,000 tickets, dude. They selling 3,000 tickets and 5,000 given away. So there you have it. But anyway, you guys, thanks for tapping in. We'll see what's up with this PBC shit. I'm out.